Welcome to my Get Google Ready series for 2024. And in this playlist, I'm going to be taking you through all of the core elements that you'll need to master in order to not only set up, but to optimize all the different types of campaigns that you can use to grow your business in 2024. And in this first video, I'm going to take you through the core 4 elements that you need to understand about how Google Ads works so that you can get the best out of your Google Ads campaigns. Now, I'm not going to be going right deep into all the different rules and the way that the algorithm works, but I am going to be taking you through those 4 key understandings that really sets the stage and the base level of learning that you need to know so that you can see success with Google. Now, everything they're going to be sharing in this video and this whole playlist comes from our experience of running thousands upon thousands of different campaigns since I launched my first Google Ads campaign way back in 2010. And just in case we haven't met yet, my name is Aaron Young and I'm from Define Digital Academy and I'm your 15,000 hour Google Ads Master. And right at the start of this series, what I do want to do to help you get the best out of Google Ads is I want to give you free access to my How to Win at Google Ads Planner. And this is a fantastic downloadable guide that not only gives you all of the information about the different types of campaigns and also lets you know about what are the best conversion endpoints for each type of campaign. It takes you through a series of questions so that you can then plan the best campaign structure for your business. And if you want to get access to my How to Win at Google Ads Planner, all you need to do is to follow that link in the description below. All right, with all of that said, let's get straight into the teaching, as I'm going to be taking you through the 4 core elements that you need to understand about Google Ads. And the first thing is that Google Ads is based on an auction. Now, many of you may be aware of that, but what I do want to stress is that the Google Ads auction is different to any other type of auction. It's not like a home auction or an eBay auction, in that the person who puts in the highest bid automatically wins. And the reason for that is because Google takes every bid and then forms it into what's called an ad rank. And let's jump into a screen share so I can explain how this works. So let's talk about how Google decides who wins the auction. And as I said before, the good news is that in Google Ads, the highest bid does not always win. And this is because Google uses a formula to calculate the winner or the number 1 position. And that is the max cost per click. So that's the most that you're willing to pay for a bid times your quality score. Now, the reason for why this is important is because you do need to remember that with Google Ads, ad relevancy is really, really high. And the reason for that is because Google's ultimate goal is to match the best ad and the best landing page to the user's initial search. So it puts what's called a quality score metric on it. And that looks at the relevance of your ad and your landing page compared back to the user's initial search term. So if you've got a higher relevance, it means that you get a higher ad rank. And that's what happens in here. So it's not just factored on the amount that you're willing to pay, because it does also take those relevancy factors, which Google calls its quality score, to give you your ad rank. So as we said, the reason why Google uses this formula is because their goal is to match highly relevant ads and websites to the user's search query. So let me put this into an example for you. So let's just say you're willing to pay $2 for your ad targeting women's summer dresses, and your ads have a click-through ratio of 12%, because your click-through ratio, the amount of times that people see your ad versus when they click on the ad, is also one of the metrics that goes into your ad rank. And if your competitor is willing to pay $5 for their ad targeting women's summer dresses, but they only have a click-through ratio of 3%, who would the winner be, you or your competitor? You're willing to pay $2, they're willing to pay $5, but you would win the auction, as Google would prefer a 12% chance of $2 rather than a 3% chance of $5. So think of it like this: across every 100 searches, Google knows that it's going to get 12 clicks, so it's going to earn $24, versus the competitor where they're only going to get 3 clicks out of every 100, so they're only getting $15. That's why your ad would win even though you've got a lower budget. So at a starting point, always remember that important point about Google is that yes, it is an auction, but it's not just about whoever has the highest budget or the highest bid wins. And that's because ad relevancy is always highly important for Google. So whenever you're going about creating your Google Ads campaigns, so your ads and your landing pages, you want to always make sure that you've got your campaigns and your ad groups or asset groups set up in a way that the ad copy matches the user's search inquiry and it takes them to the most relevant page on your website, which may not be your home page. So that's the first thing that you do need to understand with Google Ads, is that it is an auction based, but the highest bidder doesn't always win. And that's because ad relevancy is highly, highly important. And now we come to the second core element that you need to understand about Google Ads, and that is that Google Ads is not only targeting the keywords that the user is using, because you can also target your ads around audiences, demographics, locations, and devices. And unfortunately, many people, even those who have been involved in Google Ads for a long, long time, forget that Google Ads is more than just keyword targeting. Yes, keyword targeting is very, very important, but you also need to remember that there are those other important elements: audience, demographic, location, and device targeting. And in fact, the new type of campaigns that Google has been releasing, like its Performance Max and Demand Gen campaigns, the balance is actually switched in that they will go out and target audiences based on your campaign performance or your account performance before that user even completes a targeted keyword search. So for some campaigns, if you don't have your audience and your demographic targeting set right, you're always going to struggle to see some success. So I want you to always remember that with Google Ads, it's more than just targeting keywords, because it's also targeting the type of people, their interest and their habits and their demographics that are completing those searches, the locations of where those completing those searches, and also whether they're using a mobile phone or a computer or a tablet. So think of it like this: if you're marketing a toddler formula, so like a milk drink based formula for toddlers aged between 2 to 4 years old, you can use Google Ads to not only target the search keyword of toddler milk drink, you can actually target that specifically to parents of 2 to 4 year olds. And what you may even want to do is you may even want to take it a step further and target users who are not near a large retailer, because most people will buy that within a store. So you could even target those search terms, targeting parents of 2 to 4 year olds who also live in more regional cities and are more likely to buy online for those specific type of products. So that's just an example of how you can layer on your targeting to go beyond keywords and also add in those demographics, locations, and audiences for better results in Google Ads. And now the third thing that you need to remember when it comes to Google Ads is that your budgets are set at a campaign level. Now, the reason for why this is really, really important is because you may understand that with Google Ads, you've got campaigns, and then within those campaigns, you've got different ad groups or asset groups, which are collections of products or collections of services or keywords that you're grouping together. Let's just say, for example, you might have a campaign which is targeting men's clothes, and then you might have an ad group or an asset group inside of that campaign, one for men's tops, so t-shirts and shirts, and then another one's for men's bottoms, like pants and shorts. And if they're grouped in the same campaign, you don't have the ability to limit the targeting, say 50-50 between shirts and shorts. Google is just going to go through and spend that money based on what's getting the higher traffic volumes or what's getting the better results. So what can happen is that you can have ad groups or keywords or collection of products that may have a really, really high conversion rate. So they may be converting 2 or 3 times higher than your highest spending services or products. So when you're setting up your campaigns in Google Ads, always remember that your budget is set at the campaign level. So when you go to make those decisions about how you're going to separate your campaigns, remember that you need to take some other factors into account. And that is the locations. So for example, let's just say that you are targeting a product across different countries, say for example, Australia and New Zealand. In that case, I would break them out into separate campaigns. And the reason for that is because the traffic volumes would be different in Australia because it's got a larger population base than New Zealand. And also those two markets may have different search terms that they use or may favor different products or services. So by breaking them out into separate campaigns, you can have better control over the spending. Now, another factor that you need to take into account when it comes to setting up your campaigns is the traffic volume. So you might have a high volume product which has a lower profit margin, versus you might have a low volume product that has a higher profit margin. And if you put them in the same campaign, Google is likely to target that higher volume product so that that lower volume product or service, which has a really high conversion rate, may not get the budget that it requires to see success. So in that case, if you separate them out into separate campaigns, you can have have better control over the spending for those different products or services. And then finally, it's kind of related to the traffic volume is also the profit margins for certain products or certain services. If you've got a high profit margin product, you may want to put that into a separate campaign for some of your lower profit margin products, because it comes down to your conversion metrics where you may be willing to spend a lot more money before you get a conversion for that high profit margin product, because you only need one sale to make it profitable, versus those low profit margins you may need 10, 20, 30 sales before you start making it profitable. There's just some simple overviews of what you need to take into account when you're setting up your campaign structure in your account. Okay, and that now brings us to the fourth and final core element that you need to understand with Google Ads, and that is that you can use automated bidding strategies in Google Ads. Now, the two most well-known are your maximize conversions and maximize conversion value. And as the name suggests, they are settings that you can set inside of your Google Ads campaigns so that Google will automatically focus on traffic, which is going to get you the most conversions, or on traffic which is going to get you the most revenue, so that maximize conversion value. Now, this is a very complex subject which I will be having some extra videos in this series about, but right now I just wanted to give you some core principles when it comes to automated bidding strategies. And the first one is that you don't want to be setting these for the first 90 days at least. And Google will give you recommendations to set these, after a campaign's been running 2 or 3 weeks. And the reason for why I don't set them straight away is because when Google looks at its account data in terms of conversions, it reaches back about 90 days, but the last 30 days are the most important. So you want to make sure that your campaigns have gone through a full cycle of that data. The other thing that you want to be waiting for is that you want to be waiting until your campaign has got enough conversions, because if you're going to be setting a campaign to maximize conversions, you want to make sure that you've got enough data within your campaign so that Google knows the type of searches, the type of people, the time of the day, all of those metrics that Google uses, that it's got enough data so that it can actually target the correct people. The reason why that's important is because when you do set a maximize conversions or maximize conversion bidding strategy, it's highly likely that your cost per click will increase. Now, that is not a problem as long as you're getting enough conversions. Personally, for me, I don't mind paying an extra $1 per click if it means that I'm getting conversions at $10 cheaper. And as a good rule of thumb, you'd be wanting to see at least 30 conversions in 30 days before you looked at setting up a maximize conversions or a maximize conversion value bid strategy. The other thing that you want to be seeing is that you want to be seeing what I call a stabilization in your results. So what I look for is a 4-week period where your conversion metrics are staying around about the same. So over the last 4 weeks, each week you're getting maybe 20 to 25 conversions each week, and that cost is costing around about the same. So it's ranging between $10 to $15 a conversion. You don't want to be setting it up if 1 week you're seeing $70, then the next week you're seeing $10 per conversion, then the next week it's $50 per conversion. You want to wait until you see a good stabilization of your results. And then finally, if you are also going to be using some target ROAS, which is an add-on to the maximize conversion value setting, you want to be setting this off the results that your campaign is currently seeing, not what you want it to achieve. Just because you want to see a ROAS of 800% doesn't mean that you can set your target ROAS to 800%. So that's just not the way that your bidding strategies work. Now, as I said, I will be including some extra videos in this series about bidding strategies. But if you'd like to learn more right now about how bidding strategies work in Google Ads, I want you to go through and watch this video right here. So once again, thank you for joining me. And remember, if you want that guide on how to win at Google Ads, all you need to do is to download the link in the description below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video of my Get Google Ready for 2024. See ya.